What's up? Man, I got some things to share with y'all on this late night. I usually don't be up this late to post and pop off, but I'm up this late to post and pop off about what I saw tonight in the NBA draft, man. There's a lot there's a lot to share. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to talk about. A couple of things that I found to be very interesting that I'm going to share about where people went and things that were done as I continue to post this across the NBA because I want to make sure that this gets seen. So give me a second for this. Uh, so there's so many places I can start with. There's so many places I can start with this. There's so many ways I can go. But let me start here. Thank everybody for showing up here and being here to recap this thing. Let me put that bad boy up because that's what we're doing. We're recapping the 2026 draft. Yeah, Ask Technology twice in one day, man. It was a good night. Am I happy as a Bulls fan? Those are people checking in real early here on the stream. Those are people checking in real early in the chat pack, man. Listen, there is a couple of things I absolutely have to get to. I'm gonna cook some people about this draft, but first and foremost, I want to give everybody a shout out over at the Sporting Tribune. Usually do the nightly show, but that's gonna run a little bit late. And I got 5 kids. I gotta get up in the morning, so I gotta get to this, and I gotta get my shovel. I gotta dig into this thing. Um, as always, you please continue to follow the show, subscribe to the show if you're new to the show, because we're in a time slot. We usually do this Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to about 11. So if you enjoyed what you hear tonight, head over to YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. If you're listening to this on X, if you're listening to this on the John Browner podcast on X or the Sporting Tribune, please give it a retweet. I'd appreciate it. Now, let's get down to business, man. Let's get down to business. I thought that the first 4 picks went how I thought the first 4 picks were going to go. I took notes. I'm not surprised that AJ DeBonsa went first. I'm not surprised that Darren Peterson went second. I wouldn't have done it, but I understand why the Jazz felt like they had to do it. He was the best player on the board. Same for Cameron Boozer, best player on the board. Same thing for Caleb Williams, best player on the board. When we get to the 5th pick is when things get really, really itchy for me. Now, I'm not a big fan of Lawrence Frank. This is not, this isn't breaking news. I'm not a big fan of Lawrence Frank. I think that he has, in his leadership version of the Clippers, I think he's absolutely bungled this in a couple of ways. And for them to entrust what could really be the most consequential pick that they've had in 20 years. I mean, this has an opportunity to really turn this franchise in a really, really good direction. And tonight, in my opinion, I would have preferred Darius Acuff in the position. I think that them taking Keaton Wagler is not the end of the world. I think he is a good player. I just believe that Acuff is better. Now, thanks to Grant Mona, and he was down there at the watch party for the Clippers, and he found himself at the press conference as he normally does, and he's getting sound from Lawrence Frank. And as I'm listening to the sound that he's getting from Lawrence Frank, I'm going, Lawrence Frank might be a bozo. And he's exposing this publicly. Some of the things that Lawrence Frank said, because again, I'm going to get to some of the things down the road. But some of the things Lawrence Frank said tonight, if I were a Clipper fan, if I was a diehard Clipper fan, but a Clipper fan who could observe and live in reality. If I were a Clipper fan and I lived in reality, I would be very upset with what I heard from Lawrence Frank tonight in the press conference, which is the easiest thing to do after you pick. As they were going through their process about how they chose guys and how they had Keaton Wagler in a one-on-one versus Fleming, the kid from Houston, I wouldn't have told anyone that. You said he had a high IQ. I think most of these guys in this particular draft in the first, I would say 8 to 10 picks are high IQ guys. I think Lindenberg, the guy who Golden State took at 11, he's a high IQ guy. I think Mars a high IQ guy. I don't think any of these guys are dumb. I think AJ DeBonsa is super talented, but he's also a high IQ guy. Cameron Boozer, a high IQ guy. Saying these guys are high IQ guys is not a compliment that you think it is. So there was a lot that was said by Lawrence Frank in this press conference, and it really had me questioning what the hell are they doing. And I don't want to. I'm not going to get stuck on the Clippers conversation. I'm just talking about. I'm going in order of the things that I saw, and how I thought that the Wagner situation was the first tricky pick of the night. Because again, I think he's a good player. I just think Darius Acuff is better, who I will get to in a second. I thought that watching the draft play out the way that it did, and then listening to Lawrence Frank kind of talk about what got them to this point, again, as a person who's trying to get into a West Coast team, as a Chicago Bulls fan, and we'll get to them before this is over, trust me. After watching the draft and hearing Lawrence Frank speak, if I were a Clipper fan who was a level-headed thinker, I would want him removed from the position. Like, there are certain things, and I as I was thinking this, I thought I wrote this down because I wanted to make sure I said this properly when the show started. As a GM, you don't have to get everything right, but there's some things you cannot get wrong. Lawrence Frank cannot get this pick wrong, or that's his job. Again, Keaton Walker, he could get the pick right, and Keaton Walker could go on and average 25 points and be a fixture in the Clippers organization and a cornerstone on the roster. All those things can be true. I'm not dissing him, the individual. What I'm saying is I thought there were better players on the board, and that will lead me to go to the next pick. I thought Mikael Brown going to Brooklyn kind of felt like they chose him because he was from there, and they're trying to build more of a fan base with the Julius Randle pickup and Dedmon, the guy who the 7 foreign players they picked last year, one of them that actually panned out and played well. They traded Nick Claxton earlier yesterday. And so the Nets have been making moves, and to get Brown, who I guess they think has a higher NBA upside when it comes to scoring the ball. They liked him. They interviewed him. They thought he was well, so they took him. Whenever you can get a guy from your hometown that high in the draft that's worth the pick, I don't mind that pick, because again, at the same time, you're also running a business. You're trying to convey fans under your tent, and there's no better way to do that than a kid who's from the area. So I didn't even have a problem with that pick. The pick that I felt bad. I felt bad. Again, I'm a Darius Acuff Jr. fan. I absolutely feel terrible for him right now. I feel terrible for him. Darius Acuff Jr. finding himself on the Sacramento Kings is a death blow to your early career. The organization and the way that they operate, the way that they run things, it's a disaster up there. It's an utter disaster up there in Sacramento. Whether it's keeping players, giving away players, they gave away De'Aaron Fox, that proved to be true, but he did make it to the NBA Finals and played a large part in the San Antonio Spurs' ability to do so. They gave away Tyrese Halliburton, who also went to the NBA Finals as the best player on the team, and he would have probably been a champion. We'll never know now if his Achilles doesn't blow out in Game 7. So the 2 point guards they drafted last, they got rid of him. They went on to have far greater success somewhere else. So what does that tell you about the organization? I feel very bad for Darius Acuff today. I hope he celebrates this night. I hope he's got a big smile on his face, because at the end of the day, regardless of where you went, this is a lifelong dream since you pick up a basketball. You want to make it to the NBA. And these guys, they all realize their dream tonight. These are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, man. So for them to have realized this dream, and that's why I don't really spend too much of this particular time bashing on these guys. I kind of observe what I've seen from the draft position, where these guys were taken, what organization they were taken by, and how I project it to kind of look down the road. For Sacramento, like if you're looking at Sacramento today, right now, Darius Acuff, Zach LaVine, Montes Sabonis, and it maybe, if they don't buy him out, DeMar DeRozan. What's that getting you? You got a mid-range shooter in DeMar DeRozan. You got a chucker in Zach LaVine, and you got a paint clogger in Sabonis. Like for Darius Acuff is literally going to have to become prime Damian Lillard for this to work out. If Darius Acuff Jr. is what I believe he is, then he can survive this. He can survive this if he is what I think he is, because it's going to take a gargantuan effort to carry the Sacramento Kings out of the dumpster fire that they're in. Because sometimes when you get drafted, the organization helps you. And sometimes when you get drafted, you help the organization. This is a he helped the organization situation. He's going to have to be the rising tide lifts all boats situation. But I don't, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be real tough on a young man, especially in a location and in a situation like that. I think that's going to be very, very tough for him to try to find his way out of there and make the best out of that. I just think that's very tough. That's very tough for a guy like that. So we'll see how far it goes. We'll see what he can do with it. But in all honesty, I'm not really sure what we're gonna get. Because Sacramento has been such a dysfunctional organization for such a long time. By the way, they fired Mike Brown, NBA champion. By the way, they fired Mike Malone, NBA champion. Do you see the trend? Do you see the trend line? When they fire you, you either win an NBA championship. When they trade you, you tend to go to the NBA finals. When they draft you, you tend to sputter out. The days of Chris Webber and Mike Bibby and Vlade Divac and Doug Christie, who's now the coach, those days are long gone. Those days are long gone. The last time this organization had any actual real relevant player was DeMarcus Cousins, and that didn't go nowhere. And he fought like hell. DeMarcus Cousins fought like hell to make sure that Sacramento Kings were respected. You can only do so much. And they've changed ownerships since then. So this isn't like this is some 40-year owner. They've changed hands on ownerships. They sold the team to a guy who keeps his hand in the pot. Speaking of keeping your hand in the pot, let's get to the Golden State Warriors pick. Yaxelberg, Yankelberg, or however it's pronounced. Axelberg, I can't really figure it out at this point. Hold on, let me pull up the list. So let me see. So after Sacramento doomed Darius Acuff, the Hawks took Keaton Flemings, which I don't have a problem with that. The Dallas Mavericks is the pick I wanted to talk about as well. The Dallas Mavericks hired the Michigan coach, and the Michigan coach took the only player out of the three players from Michigan. I was like, I don't know about him. That was the first curveball of the night. People had talked about the Wagner pick. People had talked about the Brown pick going to Brooklyn. And Acuff, whether I like it or not, he had been kind of shoehorned after what I have seen. Sacramento really, really wanted him. The Mavs hiring Dave from Michigan, and then him picking his favorite player off the roster. I guess that's the only way you can look at it. But that doesn't make any sense because you already have Daniel Gafford, and you already have who's the other super tall light-skinned kid they got who plays his ass off, plays super hard. They already have a big rotation. And so now you bring this bruiser in to do what when Daniel Gafford's a bruiser? So I was very confused. That was the first curveball. That was the absolute first curveball to me of the night. When that happened, I was like, wait, what? Already? To Dallas? So that was the first curveball of the night for me. I thought that, and let's get to the how did you let this guy get to this team situation? How did you let Axel Berg get to Golden State? And by the way, speaking of interference, did you see this video? Let me try to pull this video up because, this show's going to get copyrighted. And I don't care because there's some things I need y'all to see. And this one particular thing is something I really need y'all to see. Please tell me that you saw the video that'll be circulating about the Golden State Warriors in their draft room. So it appears that, excuse me, it appears that the owner, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe Lacob is the primary owner of the Golden State Warriors. And if you look at this video, it appears that he is having a massive over on the right. It appears that he is having a discussion about who are we picking, and they're telling him, hey, no, make the pick, make the pick. Mike Dunleavy, clearly on the right side of the screen over the 2026, is explaining who they're picking. And Joe Lacob appears to be interfering with this. He appears to not like the pick. That is not body language of something going right. That is the body language of something going very, very wrong, as if Joe Lacob just got there. Look around the room. People are putting their heads down. People are looking the other way. People are going to their phones. This is a terrible, terrible look. If you're the Golden State Warriors and you just got this kid who can actually help you right now, and it appears the owner at the very end before this video cuts out, you can see him shaking his head as if, I don't like it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That doesn't look good if you ask me. That doesn't look good at all for the Golden State Warriors from that situation, if you ask me. The fact that the Golden State Warriors owner appeared to disagree with the pick made by the general manager, which I thought was a good pick. This kid is 24 years old. He can step right in. He can play the role that Jimmy Butler played because he will be ready to play from day one. This is, if not Mara, who they should have picked, this is the other guy who I thought if the Warriors get him, they may actually be able to put some energy into this young roster if Steve Kerr will play him. And it appears the owner disagreed. It appeared the owner disagreed. So I thought that particular pick was one of those picks where you don't let that team get that guy. The owner didn't think so. And then the Oklahoma City pick was the other pick that I thought you don't let that team get that guy. You let the Oklahoma City Thunder get a 7'4" guy with nice touch around the basket and is a really good passer. I honestly think that Diamara is an upgrade from Isaiah Hartenstein because he's more skilled. He's bigger. This is a Wemby pick. Now, again, this kid isn't going to be able to defend Wemby one-on-one. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this kid can actually put physical restraints on Wemby while not doing it dirty. This kid can contest Wemby shots. He is 7'3". So I thought that pick by Oklahoma City of Diamara was one of those picks where you go, oh, no, why did they let that happen? Because to me, that pick puts them back as a favorite to win the NBA championship. Because you got to remember, J-Dub was hurt most of the time. J-Dub missed pretty much the entire San Antonio series. So you get J-Dub back. You get Chet off Wemby because now Morrow will do it. Morrow will take the beating if it comes to that. And then everybody else can go back to doing what they're doing. You don't need the double team. You don't need rotation. And by the way, Morrow, great shot blocker. Tough guy, can protect the basket. I don't know how he's going to be able to rotate at the NBA level, but shout out to Twitch. What's good, bro? I see you out here on Twitch. Delfino, what's good, bro? So yeah, man, tonight's draft was one of those picks where I saw, oh boy, that's probably going to come back to haunt the league. That's probably going to come back to haunt the league. A couple of hits before we keep going down the list. Let's see what the chat talking about. Let me see. Where is it? It was a good night. Am I happy with the Bulls? I am very happy with the Chicago Bulls. Defino, I'm gonna get to your question next. I'm very happy with the Chicago Bulls. I think with Josh Giddey, with Montes Buzelis, with Williams, and with Claxton, this team can be fast. It can be fun. It will be watchable. What the Bulls were doing the last couple of years, it just wasn't watchable, whether it be post Zach LaVine or whether it be what the junk that they threw together last year. I thought also their 15th pick, this kid from Arkansas, who I don't know much about, but the consensus around this kid is that this dude can really play. He led the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. That sounds like my kind of guy. So I thought that the Bulls' 15th pick was an absolute. I don't like to say steal at 15, but let me get him up here. Let me see. Uh Swain, out of Texas. I'm sorry, not out of Texas. Dylan Swain. I'll learn his name. I thought that kid looks like he will absolutely 100% fit in what the Chicago Bulls would like to do as they begin to turn the corner out of the Billy Donovan era. I think that's tops of what they're looking for. So I was very happy with the Chicago Bulls and what they were able to do. Let me see. What Delfino, who do I think who you think gonna be the biggest bust in the draft? I honestly think the guy the Mavericks took, Johnson. The bruiser from Michigan. I think that kid's gonna. That's way too high. That's way too high for of a pick. Yes, Morris Johnson. I think that's way too high of a pick. I didn't like that pick at all. I thought on that roster, yes, your coach is coming in, but when you get out there against Daniel Gafford, but okay, so this is good because this is what I like to hear. The steal of the draft, in my opinion. Okay, and so now let's have a disagreement because I'm glad you said that. The idea that you already have Daniel Gafford in place, you already have his name is escaping me. The kid from Duke who was injured this year, but the 7-1 uh, uh, jumper that they already got in Dallas. So Dallas already has Derek Lively. Thank you, Derek Lively. You already have Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively already there, who I believe he's more comparable to Daniel Gafford than he is Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely is the starter. So if you're telling me that you're going to bring him into that trio and somehow you're going to find minutes for him, I don't think that that's going to work. Now, if you're going to move Gafford, okay. If you're going to move Likely, I wouldn't, but okay. I just thought that at that particular point in the draft, for you to take that guy, I thought guys were better than him. He's a physical bruiser, and if that's what you're looking for in Dallas, then okay, that's what Daniel Gafford does. Now, Daniel Gafford's injured often, and so is Derek Lively in his short career. He's injured as well too, but we'll see. That was a pick that I literally scratched my head at. And you said that you like the OK, you wanted him on OKC. Let me make sure I read that right that you said. Nah, I wanted him at 12 at OKC. I think Mara at 12 OK. I think Mara at OKC, much better pick. Much better pick. Because going forward, defending Wimby, you're gonna have to do it with skill and size. They're not gonna let you beat this dude up consistently in the playoffs. And now with Mara, you can get him off a check, and you have more of a chance to battle Wimby going forward. I thought that was more of the pick than Johnson. I just don't see the value in Johnson. Johnson's one of these guys where I'm gonna have to see it. Johnson is one of these guys that I'm going to have to see it. Yeah. No, see, I think they literally drafted Mara because he said this is what DeFino says. OKC fan here. Mara just got drafted so Chet can practice against a 7-footer. Mm, I think he got drafted to actually play against the actual 7-footer who ran Chet off the court. I think this is a I think that this is a brilliant pick because he has good touch at passing. He's good at defending the rim. Whether you don't need him to score, you just need him to be able to protect the back line and the defense. And I think the way that they defend, having somebody that big, absolutely helps your perimeter defense if you're Oklahoma City. And they get after it on every play defensively. They are one of the few teams that take the regular season seriously. And so now you put a shot blocker back there because Hartenstein wasn't a shot blocker. He was more of a bruiser. Chet can block shots, but he don't block shots on the ball. Now you have a 7'4", 7'3" guy who can block shots, help side, and on the ball if you penetrate, and you still have Chet backing him up. So I think defensively, they're going to be so much better than they were last year. And last year, they were one of the most elite defenses in league history. So I like the Mara pick better than if it would have been Johnson because the bruiser in that position, you already had that in Hartenstein, and that wasn't enough. He figured that out. He saw bruisers in Minnesota. What he won't see often is a 7'3" guy who has the wingspan and has the ability to challenge his shots. So we'll see. Biggie goes, "What up, JB Padres? Just bumped off my Braves, and you two guys are disappointed in the actual came through for you." Hey, man, listen. Shout out. I didn't even check the score. Let me check the score. I was so locked in on the draft tonight. I got to watch the Padres game later tonight when I'm done with this. What was the final score? Because when I checked on it, it was 6-6. Let me 7-6. Okay. Okay. Mason Miller got the win in 10. Samad Taylor, 3 hits. Okay. Manny got a hit. Okay. Oh, and Tatis homered. Oh man, yeah, we're gonna get all over that tomorrow. We're gonna get all that tomorrow, but not right now. Not right now. So I thought what OKC did puts them right back at the top of the mountain for the NBA championship. I think OKC is now, to me, with that pickup, I think they're back to being favored to win the NBA championship because I think more than anything, it improves Mara. Mara improves their backline defense. Stitch was a. We'll go down the line. Let me get back to. I love the Lakers pick. I wrote that down. I love the Lakers pick. As much as sometimes they're confusing. As much as sometimes I look at the Lakers and I really don't know what they're doing. They took a kid who athletically is top 5 of all these players in the draft. Carr can leap over anyone. He can also make threes, which kind of turns this into this is a guy who you can put with Luka, who can give the energy and the athleticism. This guy is the lob threat. This guy can develop into a massive 3-and-D. Now, you want to talk about steals. I think this was absolutely one of the steals of the draft. I think Carr to the Lakers is one of the steals of this draft. And it's not because of what the player that he may be. I don't think he's going to be a 25 point a game scorer. What I think he provides is an active body with speed and athleticism that can make threes. We'll see how good of a clip he can make threes, but can make threes and that can run with Luka. Because that's the direction of this franchise. How can you help make Luka look as good as he possibly can? I think Carr does that. And by the way, with that level of athleticism, I think he does that immediately. I think Carr does that immediately. Tito, I touched on the Clippers in the beginning. Now I'll touch on it again. I think Lawrence Frank is absolutely blowing this. I thought Darius Acuff Jr. should have been the 5th pick. I totally understand that the 5th pick turned out to be Keaton Wagler. Keaton Wagler's a good player. I thought Darius Acuff was better. The reasoning behind why Lawrence Frank went in front of a microphone and a camera and said they chose Keaton Wagler was because he played one-on-one with Fleming, the point guard from Houston. And if that played into it, that's the secret you keep to yourself. So you put a tall guard against a small guard, and then you say you drafted him because of his size at the position. So why'd you have him going against a small guy? Like, none of it made sense. None of it made sense what they did. Again, Wagner could be a good player. He's somebody I have to see perform in that position. Because right now, if you're telling me he's starting over Ben Mathurin, I'd tell you think again. So the Clippers clip tonight, Tito. I'm sorry to inform you if you didn't know, but the Clippers gonna clip, and they definitely clip tonight. Biggie says the Bulls actually may be a playoff team. Look out for them trades. Look, I think the Chicago Bulls have a real opportunity to be in a play-in and not be in a play-in as a threat to anybody, but to be in a play-in as a way to build with this young team. You have a 19-year-old Caleb Wilson. You have I think Montes Buzelis is 21 or maybe 22, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Giddey's still young. Nick Claxton's protecting the back end. If they play hard in the regular season, and I think that they will under the new coach Tiago Splitter, I think that the Chicago Bulls summer league team. Sometimes you get these summer league teams that are very watchable. The Chicago Bulls summer league will be very watchable this year because they still have Noah Osengay from last year, who they drafted, who never played, who I think is a bust. But we'll find out. New coach, new general manager. We'll see what he's got. But I love Buzelis. And I think Wilson is going to be a great addition to that. The pick and roll between the two of them, the pick and roll between him and Giddey being able to put the lob up now to Claxton or to Wilson. I think the Bulls have a really, really good let's get up and down team. Let's try to score as many points as we can. I'm happy with the pick of Wilson. I hope that they're out of the let's shoot as many threes as we can theory, because that made the Chicago Bulls unwatchable. I took this hat off and put it in the hat bag and didn't put it back on after, I think, December, I think it was. They were unwatchable. They were very unwatchable. Spurs did very well. I thought the Spurs did very well too. Their ability to realize what happened to Wemby and just get dogs, just get bruisers, just get space eaters. Just get space eaters. Because that was the one thing that they were lacking, a big body guy that you could put in the game and that can just make space. Because Luke Kornet was not it. Luke Kornet didn't have the athleticism. He didn't have the scoring ability and or touch. But man, the two dudes they got now, they got the kid from UConn. Who's the other kid they got? I can't remember his name right now. Let me see. Let me go down. Let me see. Where is he? Rounds. I'm going down the and there were so many trades. So they got Reed Jr. from UConn. Just a dog. Just a dog in there. I loved the way he played. And then they got somebody else in a trade. There's so many, these trades are making me cross-eyed. Let me see. I can't see the other one, but they got Terrence Reed, and I love Terrence. Oh, and they got but Quentin went to LA. I'll figure it out and I'll get back to you. But I thought the Spurs really they traded Quentin from Kentucky. They traded him. And that's why after the 15th pick, there was a lot of trade. So check this out. After the 15th pick, the 16th pick was traded, the 17th pick was traded, the 18th pick was traded, the 20th pick was traded, the 21st pick was traded. You see where I'm going here? All the way down to Terrence Reed. Those picks were all traded. Those were all trades. So it was very difficult to follow. But yeah, I mean, I thought the Spurs did great in getting these bruises, man. I really did. I really did thought that they did good. I literally wrote down as my last point in the draft coverage. Spurs beef up. The Spurs beef up. Biggie. Great job. It's midnight here in Chicago. Time for my old ass to go. All right, dog. I'll holler at you. Get you some sleep, big fella. Sacramento Kings stole this draft. MM forever. I'm glad you're here. The Sacramento Kings have a lot to prove. I think Darius Acuff has the potential to be, if not the best player in this draft, to go down as one of the second or third best players in a very loaded draft. I just don't trust the Sacramento Kings. I just don't trust the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings and back-to-back coaches that they fired won NBA championships. Back-to-back point guards that they traded went on to either play in the NBA final, or they both went to play in the NBA finals. That whatever they're doing over there ain't working. And I'm talking about from the top down. Whatever they're doing in Sacramento ain't working. And as much as I as much as I love this kid as a draft pick, he's not Shaquille O'Neal. As much as I love Darius A. Cup Jr., he not LeBron. Like you need a gargantuan effort to say I don't think that there's any one player. Like if the Sacramento Kings would have got the number one pick and they would have took AJ DeBonsa, AJ DeBonsa can't lift that boat. AJ DeBonsa cannot lift that. He cannot lift that up. And if Darius A. Cup can, then I was right about Darius A. Cup 100%, but I don't think he can. So I think Sacramento got a very, very good player at number 7. But it's Sacramento. It's Sacramento, man. So yeah, tough. Real tough. What else? I think that's all I had in the draft. I think after Spurs beef up, I think that was pretty much all I had to take from the draft. So in a recap, obviously the first 4 went as we planned. I think the Boozer pick, I love the Boozer pick. I don't love it in the city. I think Memphis is in a sticking point until they figure out what they want to do with Ja Morant. I think because Boozer comes from a pro family, I think he's a professional right out the gate. Maybe he can ease some of that tension. Maybe he can carry the load of some of this, whatever they got going on with Ja Morant. And you might see Ja Morant moved. Maybe. But this whole thing with Ja Morant in Memphis, I think this is an opportunity for Memphis to get from under that, because I think Boozer is a 20-10 guy from day one. I think he is a 20-10 guy from day one. And I told y'all about Peterson. Double M Forever says Peterson is a head case. I whenever there's a guy this good who has this many red flags, people are saying that, oh, he's Kobe Bryant. This guy plays. I think Kendrick Perkins like, oh, he reminds me of Kobe. I don't see it. I don't see it. That sounds like a hot take. That sounds like a hot take to say Peterson plays like Kobe. I watched it when he did play. I watched it when he was cramp free. I didn't see it. I heard so much about Peterson. You got to watch him. And I said, now, okay, let me watch him. Where is he? Oh, injured, not playing tonight. All right, see him next time. I go to see him again. First half against BYU. Oh, this guy's okay. This guy's pretty good. Cramps. That's all. So I was out after the cramps. Bro. If you can't survive your menstrual cycle, bro, you can't play in the league. So hopefully Peterson works all that out, man. I really do, because I want to see the talent. But putting him in Utah with Ace Bailey, who, by the way, didn't want to play in Utah either. Utah is collecting the infinity stones of people who don't want to play for us. So, yeah, I think that was that's what Kendrick Perkins said. Ceiling Kobe was the ceiling, Bradley Beal was the floor. Bro, if Bradley Beal's your floor, is it current day Bradley Beal? Are you Delfino, are you talking about Ace Bailey, or are you talking about Peterson? Because Ace Bailey's agent, who, by the way, was a train wreck, told him not to do it either. So whoever's advising these guys to not play, oh, you mean at Kansas? Okay. So small story, I know somebody on the Kansas coaching staff. I know somebody on the Kansas coaching staff. This kid was a nightmare. This kid was an utter nightmare to coach. This guy almost made Bill Self retire. If you're going to be this big of a headache, please win. Please win the national championship. If Darren Peterson was going to be this much of a headache, buddy, you got to win the national championship. And when you don't, and they play better without you, that's a red flag to me. It's a massive red flag to me. When your agent is telling you not to play in college because you're already the number one pick, You didn't go number one. You're a basketball player. Play basketball. More agents should be advising their guys. You're a basketball player. Play basketball. You let me worry about where you go. You play basketball. Because if you're a true talent, the talent will show, and he would have been number one. I also thought 100% that Utah was going to give a mother load to DC to try to get AJ DeBonza and a number one pick. But no, this ain't shut up and dribble. It's not shut up and dribble. What this is me believing in 100%. In all honesty, I'm not gonna lie. This is me believing if you are the best player, play basketball. Do whatever the agent is telling you. He's not a basketball player. He's not the person who people are saying could be the number one pick. You're the basketball player. You play at Kansas. Very little can go wrong for you by playing on the court. Very little. Because Bill Self's going to protect you. They're going to put you in spots to be successful. The roster was kind of carved for him to be successful when he played, and he was successful when he played. That's how he got to number two. So that's all. Fallen Embryo. Okay. Wizards contending next season. Yes. Yes. In a word, Wizards. Yes. Now, here's the caveat. Trae Young's been hurt 2 years in a row, and he's kind of a dick. He's been hurt 2 years in a row. AD's always hurt. But let's say that they're healthy. If the Wizards are healthy, I think that they are a Eastern Conference Finals team. Because you know who kills in Madison Square Garden? Trae Young. Anthony Davis can pretty much beat just about anything. And AJ DeBonsa, by that point in the season, won't be a rookie anymore. He'll be doing what Dylan Harper was doing. When you're like, yo, Dylan Harper is coming in and killing. That's going to be AJ DeBonsa next year. So I think with the right mix, and they have a really good defensive player in Washington as well. They have another George, not Keontae George. That's the guy for Utah, but they've got a two guard named George in DC as well. I love their rock, Keyshawn George. Thank you, Delfino. I love the Wizards roster. Health. The Wizards organization actually seems committed to putting this thing together healthy on the court, because there was a lot of talk about trading AD. They obviously didn't do that. AD and Alex are with AJ DeBonsa in the front court. There's no one with that level of athleticism. No one. There's no roster with that level of athleticism in the front court. And I'm talking about Miami included. I'm taking those three over Wiggins, Bam, and Giannis. But health. So I'm glad somebody brought the Wizards up. I love the Wizards, man. I love the Wizards roster. The question is, will it materialize? I thought AD was going to get traded for the 11th pick. But I guess we saw Golden State fighting in the draft room. I never seen that many men uncomfortable in my life. In my life, man. So as I've always believed recently, by always and recently in the same sentence makes it an oxymoron. But what I've believed lately is what I wanted to say. Is something's not right about Golden State. And maybe it is Joe Lacob. Maybe it is the owner meddling. You win for championships. You can raise your voice in the room, and you cut the checks, and you won 4 championships. You can raise your voice in the room. He looked like he did not want the kid from Michigan. LeBron and Golden State sounds good if you can get, but if they would have gotten Mara, or if they would have gotten AD in a trade, I think you could say, I think you 100% could say Bron to Golden State, because now that lines up. But Porzingis always hurt. Jimmy won't play next year, and if he does, I think he's going to be a step slow, because this is the third or fourth knee surgery he's had. So I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying it. And you would have to move pods for money reasons to get Bron under the table, get Bron in there. So Bron deserves the money. Bron deserves the money. Delfino says Bron wants more money than LA will give him. LeBron James has given a lot to the game of basketball. LeBron deserves to be treated with respect with these contract offers, man. Don't lowball Bron, dog. Don't lowball Bron, man. He better than that. And I think that they believe that too. I don't think that they're going to do that at all. I think the Lakers are going to do right by LeBron James. I really believe that. I 100% believe that. We'll see. We'll see how it materializes, but I believe it. So that's been the draft recap, man. That's really been a draft recap. Shout out to Delfino for coming in deep on Twitch. Shout out to Twitch, man. I'm trying to get rolling on Twitch. Maybe somebody could give me some subs or however that works. I got to figure that out. But good night, man. Good night on the NBA draft. I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Again, if you are new to the show, if you just got here, if you're from Twitch, if you're from Kick, if you're from Facebook somehow magically, I don't know if old people are up this late on Facebook, but subscribe to the show on YouTube, the John Bronner Podcast. If you want to talk to me about anything that you saw in the draft or anything long form, you want to be a guest on the show because you got something to offer, John Bronner Podcast at gmail.com. I can put that up so you guys can see it. John Bronner Podcast at gmail.com. That's how you reach the show. And it's been fun, man. I love coming to y'all I love coming to y'all on nights like this, man. I enjoy these conversations. I really do. So I'll see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m., man. Y'all take care. Peace.